I can't believe my eyes. It's you guys again. How did you? What's going on? What are you doing in my Discord?
What? How did
What
we
you
end up back
doing?
here?
Yeah, we're here.
What we're doing? I'm trying to.
Hamish's
have a
hair has
bath.
gone really pointy. I think he's seen my hair and he's inspired by it, and now he's growing his hair really big.
I saw your
Do you
hair.
know what?
My
He
hair
looks-
just went boing.
It
Happens
looks
to the
a
best
bit
of us, don't
like 90s pop punk, like
Are you talking about me?
front man. Yeah, your hair
What?
there is a bit like Good Charlotte or something like that. You know.
I look like a dork in Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah,
I don't
Classic
know.
Malcolm in the
I couldn't
Middle
give you.
dork.
I couldn't give you. Yeah, everyone knows that classic Malcolm in the Middle
yeah,
dork.
that classic character, Dork, with his pointy hair.
The dork.
The dork.
It's dork again.
We're all dorks here on Push the Point. No dork shaming.
No, I would say that I feel like we're more like I think geeks rather than dorks.
Oh no, nerds.
No,
Nerds,
okay.
definitely
I settle
nerds.
with nerds.
Yeah, nerds. Classic Simpsons. I forgot that was from The Simpsons, and me and my
Yeah.
wife called each other nerds like that all the time. And then we watched The Simpsons and we saw the bit, and we're like, "Oh my gosh, explains so much."
Yeah, that's so we're nerds. We're not geeks.
We're nerds.
We're not dorks. We're nerds.
Butt scratcher.
And we're definitely not dweebs. That's
dweebs. No,
Weren't they
I
just
thi-
sweets? They
What?
were like
What?
Dweebs?
No,
dweebs and nerds. Do you remember
dweebs
the
like,
Nerds were sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dweeb's like an idiot, I assume.
No, I know, but they made
Stupid.
sweets called dweebs and nerds. And
I've never heard
Oh,
of the
like,
sweet dweebs. I've heard of
maybe.
nerds.
Oh, I'm gonna need to find out now. Maybe have I just made it up? I don't know.
Do you need to find?
This is very important.
This is important,
Oh.
like everyone. Okay. Well, hello, welcome back. No
Yeah,
intro,
hi, everyone.
whatever.
Push the
So,
point.
What?
Episode
What?
whatever number we're on. 12, I think.
To
Yes,
episode
dweebs.
dweebs that you found. It.
Yeah.
So yes, well done.
They were
It was a 90s sweet.
they were a candy. Yeah, and you had multiple flavors in one box. And nerds, they were like sweet and sour, I think.
Yeah, but they didn't have dweebs in the UK.
No, is it a Canadian thing?
I didn't grow up in Canada. I just went
Well,
for a
you've
year.
been.
Did
I
you grow up
mean,
in Canada?
You're allowed to have experiences with sweets outside of your childhood.
No, but I remember this from my childhood. So
Yeah. Okay.
Really?
Okay.
It must be a Nottingham thing for the dweebs.
What? I didn't grow up in Nottingham either.
Where the hell did you grow up?
Jeez. In the
Grew up
Garden
in
of
Kent, mate.
England.
Yeah, I grew up in my neck of the woods.
Oh, all right. That's a fancy way of saying.
Land of oysters and
Oh, yes.
charity
Yeah,
shops
indeed.
that is Whitstable.
It's
I mean-
it's a fantastic place, and
It is nice.
until it gets to summertime, and then it's full of.
If you
I
like
won't go there.
stony beaches, come on down to Whitstable.
Hey, don't complain about a stony beach. You don't get sand everywhere on a stony
I really
beach.
like I'm a big fan of a stony beach. So.
And I shouldn't
I'm on
complain
board.
about tourists because they paid for my education. So
Yeah.
I work double shifts as a sailing instructor and a barman every summer.
Wow, what a life.
Wow.
I know. I basically spent all my time on a beach as a teenager. And
must be
throughout,
nice.
Throughout uni summer holidays, what I got of uni summer holidays, because I think one year I had like 2 weeks during med school as a summer holiday. Everyone else had gone away for like 2 months, and there's me. Anyway, woe is me. That was so long
is you,
ago.
mate. Where
Oh
is you?
God, my life sucked. I spent a load of time on a beach because that's where I live. Where do you live, Hamish? I live in Kettering. Oh wow, did you have fun at Woolworths?
Where's your nearest beach? Do you
Skeggy, mate.
Skeggy,
Oh,
Skeg Vegas.
God. Okay.
Yeah, Skeggy, Yarmouth. Yarmouth is decent.
Yarmouth's nice.
Yarmouth's nice.
Can I just say before we crack on, I visited Kettering recently because Hamish and I went to a couple of pre-release events together, and I met Hamish's family, who are absolutely adorable. So
Ah.
thank you very much for introducing me to your family, Hamish. I felt very privileged.
Oh, you're welcome.
How lovely.
Yeah,
That's really nice.
I wish we all felt the same way back. I'm joking.
He ruined it.
I'm joking.
Just a genuinely nice thing from Simon there.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. I really hope the Discord leave noise comes through on the recording. Gonna have to add that. Yeah.
Thanks. You probably got me back with more editing. Good bits. No, they look.
classics, mate,
Simon,
the
you were
classics.
lovely. You were a gentleman, and my wife liked you. Did you like Simon, Faye? She said, "Meh."
I can't hear her saying anything,
take that
so
as a
I assume
compliment.
that's
No,
just silence.
she's busy. She's busy cooking, chopping chicken.
Oh, nice.
Ugh.
Gotta
But
chop
no,
that chicken.
Simon, it was lovely. Thank you for coming over to visiting the lovely town of Kettering.
I've heard great things.
Kettring's
While
alright.
we were doing that, Tripp was doing a tour around London for pre-release, right?
Oh yeah, so I went to 4 pre-releases. 3 of them were actually in London, which was great. So I didn't have to really go that far.
Where was the
which
other
is
one?
Bonus.
Nice. Was Rule Zero, Dark Sphere, Geek Retreat, and then the 4th one was at the Gamers Guild in Red Hill, which is like one of my favorite stores.
Oh,
but that's
lovely.
only like a 20-30 minute train out of London. It's not far. It's on the commuter belt, which is a great store.
Nice.
Recommend it.
Nice,
Over in
nice.
Red Hill. So yeah, very successful.
Cool. What's so? Shall we commence, boys?
Let's do it.
Shall
Let's
we?
commence.
Well, I actually know the pecking order now, so I will go first. I have.
It's taken 12 episodes.
It's 12
but we're there.
episodes.
All right, okay. I've only episodes so many episodes. I've edited so many now. I finally clocked on. I'll go first.
Yeah.
Right. So I've got a Copperberg hard seltzer.
Oh my god, you're drinking. I love these things.
Really?
These
you
hard
love them?
seltzers, mate. Yeah,
They're so
I'm a
trendy right
huge
now.
Fan.
Are they?
Yeah, they're
I didn't
really
find
it in my
huge.
fridge.
They're
and just-
huge. Yeah.
They're huge.
It's basically
they
the
look
posh
quite
word.
small.
Oh,
It's basically the posh word for an Alco Pop. They've started calling it a
They
hard
are.
seltzer.
yeah.
A
They are
hard
posh
seltzer.
Alco Pops. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got a Copperberg Alcopop.
Looks
Because
great,
it
mate.
definitely wasn't just the only thing that was hanging about in my fridge.
That's quite wild cardish. I would
Yeah.
say.
Oh, thank you, Faye.
In stock. I
She's
like
not
it.
happy because I stole her drink. Right.
We can edit in her saying
She won't say
you're
anything.
welcome.
She'll be like, ah.
to the in post.
Anyway, Simon, what are you drinking?
His wife doesn't sound like that. She's lovely.
You? Yeah, only to guests. Should see what...
Press on.
Oh, let me guess.
I've
Here it
brought it-
comes.
I've-
Da-da-da-da-da.
Hey,
brought it
it's a
back out.
real
Dog.
Oh, sorry.
I've
it's a
brought it back
Brewdog,
out. It's a
everyone.
real brew dog, and it's a Hazy Jane.
Are they
Hazy
nice?
Jane
Are they
is
nice
a-
to their employees now that Simon's?
No,
back on
I just had
drinking?
it in the fridge, and it was out the garage. And Hazy Jane is a lovely New England hazy IPA. How strong is this one? 5%. I think they've actually made it weaker. I think it was stronger before. Hamish
Hamish
is trying to
is-
do that joke where he falls asleep, but
But unfortunately, it doesn't work very well on a podcast.
No, Simon, that brewed up. You explain ingredients is one of the highlights.
Right, don't listen to him, Simon.
I'm
Guys.
joking. No. I actually need to try.
I just
to
like
an-
to take
you
my
make it
beer
sound good.
seriously.
You're like an
Right.
old married couple, and I'm your child, and I'm just standing there, just like, oh, stop fighting.
Why
Just wanna have a
can't my
nice-
mum and dad love
wanna-
each other?
The
I wanna
forgotten
have a nice
victim.
podcast.
Okay, son. What are you drinking?
Right, I did go a little bit
Have you
left
gone wild card?
left field because I don't know how I feel about this. At the time, it felt like a good idea, but I bought an
There's a-
ale.
There's a tinge of regret across Tripp's face right now.
It's a Marks and Spencer's Christmas ale.
Whoa!
Uh,
Next, you're going to be telling us.
This is from this
Yeah,
year.
not last
Next,
year's.
you're going to be telling us how many sleeps till Christmas. Come on.
Well, I went in and I was like, wow, they're selling Christmas ale already. It's September the 27th, not to date the podcast, but it is. And then I was like, why can't I drink a Christmas ale
Very
in
true.
September? It's a very tasty kind of beer that you don't get to drink very often. So I bought one, and I thought this will make a good little conversation bit in the podcast. And yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
he's done a good
So-
job. I'm going to follow
enjoy.
this up and say
if you think that this is wrong and you're a listener of this podcast, comment on the YouTube video, tell me that it's wrong, and
But no one listens to this bit. Remember,
no one listens. So it doesn't matter. I can drink whatever I like, and no one will be able to judge me because no one listens to this bit. Apparently,
I'm going to just come in very, very quickly before we jump in and say,
it smells amazing.
Have you ever brought an Easter egg and ate the Easter egg before Easter?
I've never done that. That's
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah, like you know when they just you're up for some chocolate. Easter's coming. It's January, so the Easter eggs are out, right?
Oh no, I'm not. No, not like that far ahead.
No, but but like they just done, like Tripp's just done it. The Easter is arriving. It's January, so let's get the Easter eggs out now. Have you?
I
ever
mean, you
just
can
brought
get cream
one and ate
eggs. Yeah, you can get
I've
cream
eaten
eggs
a-
like in the
it?
week
Not cream
before
egg. I
New
mean, a
Year's
real
Eve
Easter
now.
egg.
I've never eaten an Easter egg because they're really expensive, and you
No,
don't
they're
actually
not.
get that much chocolate.
Yeah, you do.
So I would just buy a chocolate bar.
Oh well, I have because
No, but everyone knows that. No, everyone knows that Easter egg chocolate tastes better than the normal version of that
Yeah.
chocolate, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that this is true, guys. I don't know. When was the last time you guys ate an Easter egg? 'Cause
On Easter?
I'm
In
pretty sure they
January?
use inferior chocolate for a lot of these Easter eggs, as opposed to their
No.
good quality chocolate they use for their chocolate bars.
No, the Easter,
wrong,
the Cadbury's chocolate egg is the best chocolate that ever. Like, there's better than the chocolate in the bars. They put some time and effort.
When we started this podcast, Hamish said to us, "Right, let's not ramble for this one. Let's not get sidetracked
I
on
know.
any
Right,
conversations
okay, right.
about Easter
So-
eggs."
So I know this
What
doesn't
about
sound
Easter?
from what we've learned about each other so far. I know this doesn't sound like me, but
Oh,
I
this is
go a
alright.
bit different on my Easter eggs, and I think my favourite one so far is a
It's
Hotel
September.
Chocolat 100% cocoa Easter egg, which is phenomenal. So
What?
if you ever, it's 100%
Tripp's weirded out.
cocoa chocolate.
Well,
It's the best.
I'm just amazed by Simon saying this doesn't sound like me. It sounds 100% like you.
Yeah.
Like,
That was the joke, Tripp.
yeah, oh my god, it's so deadpan. You can't do this to us.
Don't make me explain the joke.
Oh,
I thought you were being serious. Oh my gosh, right, okay. Let's move on, shall we?
Well, that ends that segment. Thanks.
well,
guys.
thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the
Will
Easter egg segment.
will
I'll see you
Easter
in
egg
Easter.
segment get off the cutting room floor? We find out later on.
Simon, what are we doing?
Right. So we've had a great week, and we've had a chat with multiple Road to Nationals winners. A bit of a tete-a-tete with these high-powered winners. So Hamish and I got together to chat with Sharif Shaban from the UK, 3-time Road to National
He's
winner.
a regular now, isn't he?
He is. Brendan Patrick, 4 times Road to National winner from the United States, and Dante Delfico, 2-time Road to National winner from Canada. And do you know what? We had such a blast chatting with these guys. There's just something about like-minded people chatting about the game of Flesh and Blood that we love, and just being able to let loose a bit. So we did record a bit more material than we expected, and over the next 2 episodes we are going to treat you to that content almost unadulterated, and let you listen to what we enjoyed making so much.
Yeah, man. So we've got a 2-parter. This is now part 1. You probably
Double header,
noticed
mate.
because it's in the title, hopefully. So yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'll see you.
See you on the other side.
So there's this burning question that we need to start off with, which is what is it like? Is it living with Dante or rooming out?
I was rooming with Dante. So it was great. It was good and bad.
Rooming.
So I was very specific to Dante. I was like, hey, man, if we're going to room, you can't snore. Like, you just can't do it. I'll smother you. Like, it ain't going to fly. And he was like, yeah, man, I don't know. So okay. So apparently Dante reached out to his friend right before Vegas, and his friend was like, yeah, man, you snore. What are you talking about? Or at least a little bit. So we got there. And Dante actually doesn't snore, but what he does is like he will make violent sounds while he's falling asleep. So I walked him around the Las Vegas Strip right when we got there for like at least solid 2-3 hours. And he was like, yeah, after the end, we were both pretty shattered from walking. We're like, yeah, he's like, yeah, my feet hurt. And then when we were sleeping, he would turn around on his bed and he would go, fuck, and so just like make these animal sounds. And I was like, damn, I really wore his ass out on that walk. And he just has no recollection. But yeah, after you get past that 15-20 minutes, he sleeps like a baby. But oh my gosh, it was bizarre. He did it every night too. Just like these weird, I don't know.
Oh, I thought it was just the first night. That's terrible.
No, it was every night.
It was every night.
The obscenities just got worse and worse.
Oh my god!
Oh my
I
goodness!
can't. What way to start this off?
Yeah, dude.
What are you doing?
Just rolling over.
I have no idea.
Well, at least he doesn't snore, though. I mean,
that's the main thing. I didn't lie to Brendan. I don't snore.
Yeah, it just sounds like a calf is being slain in the bed next to me. It's just.
Oh my god, Dante! If I ever have the honor to meet and play in the same tournament as you, I would gladly stay in the same room as you because I need to hear
Oh,
this.
apparently it's quite a spectacle. But Brendan gets it for 2 more callings, so he's excited, and I know it.
2 more callings at least.
God,
That's what I have. I have
that
that book.
sounds so
But,
did Hamish just invite himself back to your room?
Mate, anything to hear this. I'd love to hear this. I'm all down with some weird ass shit experiences. I've never heard anyone like decide they're going. Well, not decide. Just this is how I sleep.
This must be like a more recent thing though, because I've never had like girlfriends or anything like that tell me that I fall asleep weird or some shit like that. Like I'm sure that if that's the way I fell asleep, there's just no chance that anybody would stay with me. So it's crazy to me that this happens.
Have you currently got a girlfriend?
I don't have a girlfriend right now, but I guess that's why.
There you go. There's your answer. Yeah.
I always wake up and they're gone. It's really weird.
That's pretty lucky because you're married.
Me?
So you guys have got how many more? You've got 2 more callings to go. What's that? Dallas and Cincinnati.
so it's 3 more. There's Orlando in there as well, which is a calling for Dante, and it's nationals for
and
me.
then that's for you.
Yeah.
So when's the next one?
That's
Next month?
Dallas, which is mid-October.
Yeah, I think it's about 3 weeks away or so.
Wow. Is that going to have Tales of Aria in it?
Yeah, it's a limited calling, so
Yeah.
it's a sealed Swiss, which is I think both Dante and I have a bit of concern around that. Not really the sealed portion, but more the current structure of the tournament is definitely suboptimal. I don't know if it's because they decided like no matter what happens, like no matter how many people join, we're going to have this many Swiss rounds and not scale it. So, for instance, in Vegas, you had to go X1 to even have a possibility of making top 8, and you also had to lose late. If you X2'd it all, you made day 2, but you pretty much had no incentive to play because you couldn't make top 8, and you would just drop and play the PTI, which is
what you did, right?
Yeah, it's weird, right? So
I find that really difficult to handle. Like if you're going to get to day 2, there has to be some incentive, surely. But
Yeah.
I think the incentive was like if you hit top 32, they give you like a nice little $150 buyout or something like that for like, hey, thanks for playing. But why would I not just play in the PTI instead?
you get a Pro Tour invite,
I don't know.
make 10x that
Yeah,
if
exactly.
you play 2022. Like it's
Yeah.
Oh, that is weird. Actually.
I think we still need to do that math for our Nats because we have the same thing where Nats is 24 for day 2, but then you might make the cut to top 24 and then have no chance of making the cut to top 8 because it's only 3 last rounds on day 2.
What's even stranger is that we're doing, and Dante, you have the same in Canadian Nats, right? You have 3 rounds of CC, 3 rounds of draft, 3 rounds of CC, cut to top 24, 3 rounds of draft, cut to top 8, CC top 8.
Yep. I believe that's all nationals, so it's US as well.
It's a little strange.
Well, apart from the US nationals, Brendan, which is 3 rounds of draft, 5 rounds of Swiss, cut to day 2, 3 rounds of draft, 5 rounds of Swiss.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
I forgot about that.
I like that they start with draft there,
that makes
though.
more
I would
sense.
prefer to start with draft and then go, because, I don't know, for me, it's like, all right, cool. So I get to, go 3-0 in CC, and then I get all the really good players in my draft pod,
3-3.
and then we all have to knock each other out, and then we go back to CC after, where it's like I could knock out the noobs and then beat the good players.
I'm hearing
in CC
that the draft
instead.
pods are going to be randomly constructed, so
Yeah.
Even for
we
for
did ask
Nats,
that question. Yeah.
Because
What?
it's mid rounds, they can't do all top 8s. I mean, they might be able to, but surely if you had the top 8 players at 3-0, then one of those is going to come out 3-3, and most of them are going to come out like losing more than they want.
That's wild.
And if they
Interesting.
And if they do it like that, then you're better off submarining, lose round 1, get a weaker pod for your first round.
Tactics are coming out.
Round 1, it does well.
I think
This is why I do think it's a good thing. This is why I do think it's a good thing that they're going to randomize the pods, because it does make sense and it stops you from having to resort to such tactics.
Yeah, don't quote me on this, but I've heard that you can win your first 3 rounds of CC, lose all 3 rounds of draft, win your other 3 rounds of CC, and still make day 2.
Yeah, I think 6-3 makes day 2.
And have a chance to top 8. Not for US Nats, because I think it's much bigger, but for the UK and Canadian Nats, I'm pretty sure that's a thing. Yeah. So if you're not confident in your drafting, then at least there's that. You can just bomb the draft.
I think we looked at it. If
play well in
but
CC.
don't you have
You're
to
be all right in draft day 2, though. So you're not making.
Yeah, exactly.
If the event's not full, if there's not a full 96 people, I think 5-4 gets you through to day 2. Anyway, while we're on the subject of big events, you two have been to the. By you two, I mean Dante and Brendan. You've been to the biggest Flesh and Blood event so far at the Vegas Calling. Do you guys want to just talk a bit about what it was like to be at that event? Like, how was it feeling?
Sure. It was for me specifically, it was very strange. I've never been to an event that big in my life. I played Yu-Gi-Oh 10 years ago, and I went to a regional that was like 200 people, and I thought that was big. So going to the calling and seeing that many people was a little bit crazy. It's also just insane that there were that many people in one room because of COVID, basically. I haven't seen that many people in one place in a very long time, but it was really cool just getting to. I met so many different people. I made a lot of new friends. Everybody was very cool. The Tales of Aria event was a little bit rocky, let's say, in terms of how everything went, based on like pairings and stuff like that.
7 hours.
Yeah, it was took a little long. But the CC event the next day for the actual like calling event was actually very well structured, and I was very impressed because I wasn't exactly sure how they were going to do it with that many people, but I don't know, I think it went really well, and I'm glad that so many people actually turned up and played. At first, because they used to have it on the Channel Fireball website where you could see how many people were signed up for the calling, similar to how you can see how many people were signed up for like the Tales of Aria preview event. But they took that away at one point. But I used to check every day, and when I was checking, there were like 50 people signed up, and I was like, "This is gonna bomb." I gotta sell all my Flesh and Blood cards now because this is not gonna go well.
Oh, no.
And then I get there, and they're like, "Yeah, no, there's like 1,000 people here for the Tales of Aria thing," and I was like, "Oh my god, that's crazy."
Wow.
But yeah, so it was very cool, and I think overall it was very successful, and it was definitely a different experience compared to what I'm used to. So it was, I don't know, it was cool to find myself in a situation like that.
How about you, Brendan?
Yeah. So, like Dante said, it was pretty impressive to see the event that big. I think that this kind of served as Flesh and Blood's proof of concept, right? Like a lot of people expected it to not do well or wanted it to not do well, and it did much. Yeah, for sure. I mean, people in, maybe playing other games, things like that, maybe didn't want it to kind of have a good showing, and I think that it far exceeded what would be considered good. Maybe good would be around 500. That would have been a solid showing. We had to almost double that.
Especially during
because
COVID
of that,
as
it was,
well, right? I mean, outside of COVID, you'd expect maybe another few hundred people there.
100%, yeah. I mean, there was definitely probably a pretty significant amount of players who didn't go because they weren't comfortable with, that kind of area or that kind of event during COVID. So I think that there would have been a pretty decent amount of people that would have showed up in addition to what we saw if it had not been during this time. So it was really successful, the game, which is awesome. It was pretty crazy to be an event that big where everybody was interested in Flesh and Blood. Like I played a Magic Grand Prix, but as like a casual, like I just played side events. So it was like my first time in a big competitive main event, and it was, especially in the Tales of Aria thing, I mean, you just saw like almost 1,000 people that were just very passionate and very happy to be playing Flesh and Blood, that's just a really different experience. I think that we're all gonna see that and realize that in like the next year and a half. But it is really shocking to kind of see this thing that, you know, maybe you play in your town or you play with your friends and something you guys all really like, but when you see this massive community from all over the United States or North America and soon to be all over the world, you know, maybe when we play Worlds in 2022, it's definitely like very, very awesome to see, and it gave me a lot of encouragement for the game. And yeah, Tales of Aria was great on the world premiere. Like I think I would like to try to play every world premiere if they keep replicating that. It's an awesome experience to open the cards for the first time. And just not have any idea of what to do, and then play it with everybody else on the same level. And the main event, like Dante said, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, obviously you're one of very few people that have now been to both US callings, right? So you placed well in the first US calling, and now you've been to this one. How big was the difference?
Well, so we were talking less than 40 people, and then obviously at the calling there was over 1,000, I think, probably in total, but in the main event there was a little bit over 700. So yeah, in the first one I got second.
Wow. I didn't realize how big the main. I thought, okay, 900 for Tales of Aria, probably about, I don't know, 200, 250, 700 people.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ,
it was pretty ridiculous. But yeah,
to top 8.
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, we can talk about that too. Yeah, it's pretty weird to hard to top 8, at least in that format. But I did get second in that first calling, which got me my Pro Tour invite, and that's why I traveled to New Zealand and competed in the other one, where my teammate Sasha Markovic picked up the win. But in this one, huge amount of people. I ultimately made day 2, but had to drop. I played the PTI. I got 62nd. Would have loved to play day 2 if it was logistically reasonable for me. But getting and collecting Pro Tour invitations is very important.
I think it's going to be important, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big deal. So it's you definitely do want to go for that PTI, at least with the current structure. And for me, I was also in comparison to everybody else in North America that was competing, there might have been less than 3 players that were already rated on rated ELO, which is a way to qualify for the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
And I was the highest, before the event, I was the second highest rated ELO in North America. The guy who was first didn't show up. He had just won the New Jersey calling. So if I had played that second day, I was actually risking ELO because everybody was 1,500-ish. They were all unrated. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was more than just, the opportunity cost of not playing the PTI. I could actively lose points.
Dante, you happen to be the first match streamed for the calling, right? Do you want to tell us about that?
Okay.
Oh no!
Oh my god! Sure.
We're gonna dig this up.
I'll tell you all about it. I got a friend, and he should get the word betrayal tattooed on his forehead, I think, because he's no friend of mine. He wonders why I made sounds as I was falling asleep. It's because the thought of rooming with him was haunting me the entire weekend. But yeah, so basically, Brendan, when Brendan arrived in Vegas and we were just chatting with each other, he essentially told me that he met the guy on the plane that was doing all the coverage or was in charge of everything for Channel Fireball. And he said that he gave names of players who he thought would, be good on stream, basically.
God, here we go.
And he kept joking around with me all of the Tales of Aria day. He's like, "Yeah, you're going to be first on stream. I've arranged it so that it's this way." And I was like, no, I would prefer not to be first on stream. And you know this, so you wouldn't do that to me because you're my friend. Well, I sit down for my first match and some guy walks up to me and he's like, "Hey, you're on stream." I was like, "What?"
Oh, no.
No, please. Not like this. So he grabs me and Brendan and puts us both on stream. And Brendan's trying to Brendan still thinks I'm joking at this point that I don't want to be on stream, which I was not. But Brendan's like, "Yeah, man, see, I'm on stream too. It'll be all right." So we both sit down. Brendan sits at this nice little booth with no cameras on him, no nothing. There's just a camera recording his gameplay. So, nothing Nothing crazy for him. I sit down, there's like this full setup of like cameras pointed at me, camera pointed at the gameplay, some dude controlling the stream beside me, a judge. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. I'm like, this is the first big event that I've ever been to in my life, and it's on stream, and I don't want to be on stream. I don't think I do particularly well on stream, but I'll give it my best shot. And then I can't remember what happened. I think I missed an unhallowed rights trigger very early on in the game. And like that was just it for me. My mental crumbled. I became like a ball of mashed potatoes. Like there was nothing after that for me. And I proceeded to miss every single unhallowed rights trigger aside from one, I believe. I also made a soul shackle and then played a non-attack action that had go again. So I lost it there. It was just terrible. It was like the worst Flesh and Blood I've ever played in my entire life, just off of pure like nerves and nervousness. And I remember Brendan finishes his match and I can hear him like chatting with some other people on the side. So I know he won. And I look at him, and you can probably go back into the match and see this exact point. But you'll see me like look at him and shake my head in like in disbelief basically that he has done this to me and that I'm about to lose round 1 at the calling because he screwed me. Thank God I won, because I literally would have never forgive him.
I remember that point in the match because it came up on our testing group Discord, and someone said, "Did anyone see Dante just shake his head and put his head in his hands?" And we thought it was just because of like some of the plays that you made, but no, it was Brendan sitting beside you.
Yeah, I looked right at Brendan. I shook my head at him after wiping like 8 gallons of sweat off my face.
The sweat, his mask, like you could see his mask was just soaked. It was, I felt really bad because obviously, like, you know, people get nervous. That's just a thing. Thing is like I thought, well, not that I thought, but I still think that Dante could have won the calling, and if he was going to win the calling, he had to be able to play on stream. Better to do it early rather than later, but maybe not so early as around 1. I didn't actually know that we would get on. But yeah, so he definitely had to get over those nerves. But when I stood up and I had won my match and he was sitting behind me and I looked at him, I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh no. Because I could see that he was physically distressed. Like he was sweating. And he looked at me and he was not. And I was like, wow, he might actually lose this. Wow. So, maybe a little bit too much trial by fire, but I do ultimately think it probably did help him in the long run because he won. Maybe it
tough love from Brendan. Tough love.
Well, did it help you, Dante?
Sort of. It's hard to say. I think so. Ultimately, just because I had already been on stream, so when they were streaming me for the top 8, I was much more comfortable. Yeah. But I think like by the time that they streamed me for the top 8, I was already so like confident and comfortable in everything that I was doing throughout like the last 2 days, basically, that like when I was playing in the top 8, the only thing that was in my head was like, you're gonna win the calling, and like you just have to get there, basically. So just play perfectly. And that's what I tried to do. Didn't work, unfortunately. But you know, sometimes things just don't work out.
The double razor.
You know that it's actually
the double razor. I don't care about the double razor. I couldn't care less about the double razor. What pisses me off is that I'm not gonna get into it, but basically at the last turn, I just needed to draw like anything that wasn't 2 Art of Wars and 2 red cards. If I drew a blue card and 2 Art of Wars, it's okay, because then I can start cycling some of the cards out of my hand with like drawing off the Art of Wars, basically. But because it was 2 red cards and 2 Art of Wars, not only do the Art of Wars not block, but now I have to pitch to banish a card that has no blood debt. It was an E-Strike, I believe, to draw 2, and then I have to pitch again to banish the other card and draw 2 more. Like, I'm losing so many cards at that point. It was just terrible. If it was 1 Art of War, it would have been okay. If it was no Art of Wars, it would have been the best. If it was just, there were so many different ways that it could have gone, but it didn't go any of those ways, and that's it. And now I just got to try harder at the next call.
There's something we have to talk about there, because it's strictly a point of the, like a mistake in the calling by all of us, like especially as like a collective or a team, whatever you want to call it. Because those deck lists were open. And there was a lot of logistical weirdness with like judges and kind of like how the event was run outside of like on time. So Dante got the list, but he didn't get it. He got it for a very short amount of time, and it was actually public on the stream. And both Hayden, I, and anybody else that was kind of on our side didn't tell Dante there was double Razor in it because it was assumed that Dante already knew because he had seen the list. But so yeah, that was because if Dante obviously if he had known that there was Razor in the deck list, he would have thrown Husk there. There was no reason not
absolutely.
to.
Yeah.
So that was 100% our fault for both not scouting it, and it was open information, so it wasn't even scouting.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, yeah, they gave us the list prior, and I looked through, and like the first thing I saw was like Tremor of Ithriel or whatever it's called, and I literally was like, "Really? Like you're running that card?" And then the judge was like, "Yeah, well, like that's it. Like we got to start the match now."
They just chucked you straight in.
Deck lists were taken out. Yeah, but like I took a look through it, I completely missed the Razor Reflex. I remember commenting on Tremor of Ithriel, and I like looked at my opponent and asked him, and then he was like, "Yeah, no, it's good," and I was like, "Okay," and then that was it. I didn't know that there were Razors until I saw two of them at the same time. My jaw hit the floor.
I have to say though, just to sort of to wrap this whole thing up, that seeing both of you there was for me, I think for most of the dudes in the UK who knows who you are, Dante, and obviously everyone watches all of your stuff on Arsenal Pass, Brendan. It was really good for us. It was people we could root for in this event. You know what I mean? That was one of the best things for us, and to see that both of you played that event and made it to day 2, did very well, and then seeing Dante in the top 8 was just like I was just telling my wife, I was like, my friend's playing. And obviously, I was like, friend. I was like, my friend's on stream. She's like, is she? I was like, yeah. I'll promise. I am washing Freya in the bar. Honestly, Dante's on stream. She's like, who the fuck is Dante? You haven't played Devil May Cry in years. I was like, no, he's playing Flesh and Blood. She's like, oh, it's fine. I was like, yay! It was just really cool. So honestly, the performance you guys did, the whole event, it's interesting to hear the scenes from behind, and just well done, Peria, amazing. 700 player event, and you smashing those sort of numbers. It's really good. But I think that kindly sort of moves us on slightly to one of the reasons why we wanted to grab old Shingo here as well. Poor Shingo, he's been sitting in the corner.
No, I'm enjoying those stories. I didn't hear about Dante's sleeping patterns or the sweaty Dante on day 1. So no, this was really fun to hear.
Well, we wanted to kind of get all like I'm the chud, right? Who's sitting here? I'm known as the man bubble boy, Mr. 9th, Mr. 10th. Can't get into a top 8, right?
He literally can't to save his life.
No, I literally can't. Strength of schedule bends me over every time. And I'm now sitting amongst Road to Nationals winners. We've got 3 times Road to National winners. Shingo. We've got Dante. I think you've. I don't know how many.
There are 10 between us here. I think. Is that right?
Yeah, just 2 for me. I only want 2.
Only 2. All right. Brendan, how many did you get?
I got 4.
Yeah.
4.
Must be nice.
I'm bringing up the back for just the 1 win.
All right. Okay. So we've got a 1 winner, a 2 winner, a 3 winner, and a 4 winner, and a bubble boy. Right. I wanted to try to bring everyone in here, because we've got some huge meta changes now. We've got Tales of Aria, that's now coming out. Everyone's getting ready to go to Nationals. And I wanted to kind of just pick people's brains. You don't have to go through your spiciness, because everyone's locking in what they're going to take and stuff. But just a general overview over what we feel the new meta has become. Because the pair of you took Chain. I assume you took Chain, Brendan?
To the road, yeah. I took them to every event that I won. It was just Chain.
Pretty. So now it's got a big fat nerf slapped on his head right before a Nationals, and I'm now generally intrigued, and I want to ask all you winners, what do you think this meta is going to look like now that Tales of Aria is out and Chain is also nerfed, and that awesome weapon is banned before even released?
Shin, you start. I think Sharif should start.
I think from
pressure. Your stream 1. We're going to stream you round 1. Go.
I think from my very narrow Dory perspective, we will see Prism have a resurgence, right? And not only because the Prism Tyler who won with Prism at the calling, but just because of the nerf of Chain. Chain was really what was keeping Prism out of the limelight during Road to Nats, and you just made him a lot weaker. And so I do think Prism is going to come up and be a lot more present, because she is just a powerhouse of red aggro heralds to deal with. And I think she's going to be very successful, because her playstyle is quite straightforward as well most of the time, which helps. I think in these large tournaments, an aggro deck with a very defined plan is a lot easier to pilot and to take the long way. So I do think Prism is going to come out of the woodworks this season, and that's very scary for me. But I think because we know that Prism is going to be important, there is going to be maybe a few Reinars coming through that will wreak havoc. Maybe even a Levia. I mean, I'm not holding my breath on Levia, but you never know. And then there's the new heroes. Again, I think Lexi has that mindset that you can go really aggro with her. I don't think we'll see that much Briar, just because Chain is still going to be the better Runeblade, and Viserai is actually quite good as a second Runeblade. And that leaves us with Oldheim, which I hope we don't see too much of, because I've tried playing Dory into it, and it was a painful game. But he is an interesting hero, and I think there might be a few interesting spicy builds with Oldheim, so we might see a few Oldheims here and there. I just don't think he's going to be the most common hero we'll see. But if someone is playing new heroes, I expect them to be playing the Heart of Ice card, because I just think that card is amazing if you bring it in a Lexi deck or an Oldheim deck. So it will be really interesting. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on the new meta.
You forgot Bolton. He was the one that made sure Prison didn't win.
Mm-hmm. He was, but there wasn't that many Boltons. I actually do think Bolton is well placed. I think Saber Boltons is still an interesting choice to bring to Nats.
Sorry, everyone. Bloody deck's trash. Saber's build's trash.
Yeah,
man.
Agreed.
I do too.
I also think that
Saber's build is for.
It's gonna be unplayable.
Go,
yeah, I think it'll be unplayable actually.
It is unplayable.
Well, no,
Yeah,
the deck absolutely wilted in front of Disruption, and we had like one prominent Disruption last format in the form of Canaman and Conquer. Now it's on like half of the cards in Aria. So any sort of resource disruption, Gogan disruption, armor disruption, or arsenal disruption is all bad for Saber's Bolton, because it's a non-interactive, interesting deck. So. Like it's everything just got 100 times worse for Bolton if you're playing Sabers. So everybody's gonna have to kind of cleanse themselves, be honest, pull up Raiden, and start playing the game.
I can tell you now, the Raiden build is it's not looking great either. When everything is all about your hands, and you've got to play a card and then charge a card, and then you want to pitch a card, and then you got to pay 1 to hit Sabers. Raiden was only good because it cost 0. Yeah, you're gonna pitch 1.
It's asking a lot in a disruptive format, which is probably where we're going to end up. We also have like Command and Conquer Pummel. I assume to come back in droves, because Command and Conquer clears all arsenal. So especially if Lexi is even relatively powerful or popular, Command and Conquer is already devastating versus so many classes, and it was definitely the best card in Monarch. So you put that up. You increase its kind of equity in the meta with it clearing double arsenal. I think that like we could even go back to the days of Crucible War. You have like aggro ninja with Command and Conquer Pummel and crazy stuff like that.
Jeez.
Let's pummel the Command and Conquers and the Surging Strikes. Let's do it. So I mean, the hallmark of the Monarch meta to me was variance, right? There was just so much Prism, Chain, card draw, card banish. Like, do we think that's gone? Do we think that's somewhat attenuated?
Attenuated is a good word, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
What's that? It's a bit smaller. Depends what hero.
All heroes, right? Because you just have all the disruption in Tales of Aria is good for the game, and especially the more defensive and ice decks are going to slow down the format. The format was inherently variance driven because we were in an aggressive format and you had to play a proactive deck. Any kind of reactive deck just really wilted against pretty much 90% of the meta, and then 100% of the meta if it was piloted by a player who knew what they were doing. I think, you were basically on a proactive deck, or you were getting kind of slapped around last season.
What's your thoughts, Dante?
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement. I think that most decks will be like the format itself will be a lot less variance based. I think that obviously Prism is going to be extremely popular, especially after winning the calling. It was already played by a lot of people when Chain was around, and I honestly do not think Chain will be a deck anymore at all, period, ever, until Seeds of Agony comes back, which it never will. So I think Chain is just kind of dead in the water. I think there might be some builds of Chain that people try and work on, but I think that they will be effective against some decks and lose instantly. Like, if you have to take an instant loss when you're playing a deck, it's not worth it to play that deck, basically. And I think that that's kind of how Chain will be now that Seeds is gone, is that as soon as you go up against anything even like remotely control, they can very easily fatigue you now, which was not something it wasn't something that they were able to do before, basically. Like, if you were losing to Fatine as a Chain player, then you probably were not playing the matchup correctly. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, so I think looking at the new heroes and the amount of disruption coming into the meta, strangely, I think the original heroes, the Welcome to Wraith heroes, are actually pretty well positioned, like Shin said. I think the people that know how to play them have got plenty of reps in there. I think you can adjust the deck slightly to be maybe slightly more resource heavy to get over the frostbite tokens and other issues that the new heroes bring. I just wonder how effective Lexi and Oldham are going to be. Again, I think Briar maybe isn't really the strongest Runeblade, let alone the strongest hero in the set in constructed.
I'm intrigued why everyone feels that Briar is not in a great position in CC.
She's great in limited, right? Like, unblockable arcane damage in limited makes her amazing. No questions there.
A bit of arcane block, pretty decent, right?
But I don't know. In CC, I just feel like Chain and Viscerai do their own game plan better. And I just felt like Ice, as Brendan said, Ice is the most disruptive of the elements, right? So Briar with her Earth and Lightning is kind of that category. And this is the thing where I don't know how much reps Brendan and Dante have on the new heroes, so they might be able to speak to this a bit more. But
I don't believe you.
one thing that has made me a bit underwhelmed in CC with Oldham and Lexi is how consistently you need to have two elements if you're going with a hybrid approach, which means that you need to focus on one element. And most people will focus on Ice, I think, except for Lexi. Maybe you can focus on Lightning. Yeah,
that's 100% the way to go.
But that means the hero is not as broken as we originally thought when we saw the cards, because you need to have these fuse cards in your hand, and it's really difficult to have an Earth and Lightning fuse card or Earth and Ice, etc. So it does change deck building in a very nice way, because suddenly Oldham has 3 different builds just innately that you can test out and figure out which one is the best.
Have you seen Awakening?
I have seen Awakening.
Have you seen how much Awakening does not care about fusing? And it is basically one of the most nuts shooters in the game.
But remind me, how much does Awakening block for?
Who needs to block? That's the point. Just take the damage.
I actually don't know.
Find that Spinal Crush for free and swing that for 9.
I have my binder right here. Let's find out. Because see, the thing is, blocking is a lot more important. Well, it's not a lot more important, but the previous meta avoided blocking a lot more, and now we're back to somewhere where we have more control and you do need to block. And I think that is how these Tales of Aria heroes are balanced, is that lesser blocking. And Awakening doesn't block. And
I know.
Yeah,
that's the best bit. You don't want it. you just want to take it and slap back.
So there is one thing that I want to dive a little deeper on here, which is I think that you guys are way higher on chain than me and Dante are. So I think that
in terms of what way?
Yeah, so I'll hand this over to Dante after, but I don't think the chain's going to be represented at all in like higher competitive events. Like maybe there'll be like a fading out period. But Seeds of Agony was not a control card. Seeds of Agony was literally the backbone of the deck. It was good in control, but it was literally what you did. So why Chain was very good is on Shackle 0, Shackle 1, or anything like that, he can go Seeds of Agony, 1 cost attack, usually out of Banish, and even the Seeds out of Banish, then Blade for 4. This made Nebula Blade just bust it. This is the bread and butter. That's why that deck was kind of unfair through the early game. Obviously, some of the non-blood deck cards as well really good at that time. But they're high variance. That was very low variance. You could do that consistently almost every turn. That has been just neutered out of the deck. So I actually think that Chain is just... I think they basically banned him. Like if he was tier 0, I think he's down at tier 2 now. Like quite low. And he also has an auto loss into probably the most popular deck in the entire format. He also, without Seeds of Agony, how are you going to build Ursa? How are you going to Eclipse?
Yeah,
like
Eclipse
there's so
becomes
many.
unplayable.
I 100% agree. To be honest,
Yeah,
I 100% agree.
Yeah, I'm looking at Viscera. I haven't played Briar, so I can't speak to her. Or at least in CC, I can't speak to her. But Dante, is this kind of your thoughts on Chain as well? Have you aggressively unsleeved your deck?
My deck is still sleeved just because I'm lazy, but I haven't even looked at it. Like it's still in the deck box from the calling. I haven't even bothered taking it out. It's just sitting in there doing
just
nothing.
Throw it in the bin.
Yeah, that's basically where it belongs. You just chuck it in the bin and call it a day.
I can't believe it. We've done it.
We've bloody done it.
We've done it.
Do you know what? We haven't just reached 169. In the last week, we've jumped from 159 to 186 subscribers.
Oh, wow.
Boom!
Smashed it, mate.
Yes, we did it.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, everyone. And I'm now going to do the draw for the Cold Foil Crazy Brew, courtesy of Living Realms. So I've taken everyone that's commented from episode 5 all the way through to episode 11 and the Sharif Shaban deck tech, and I'm going to roll a dice, 2 dice in fact, which gives me the number 8, and I'm going to randomize the list of names 8 times, and I will pick the top name.
Ooh. And the winner will get, what will they get, Simon?
The winner will get a Cold Foil Crazy Brew promo extended art.
Oh, that is possibly one of the nicest promos that LSS have done.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think it even might be the best one.
I think
so
so.
cool.
One,
they should do more stuff like that.
2, 3,
Yeah.
4,
Yeah.
5, 6.
Wait.
7.
I peaked too soon.
8. Ken Hoskins. Ken Hoskins.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Well done.
You win the Crazy Brew Cold Foil extended art promo. Thank you
So-
very much for your interaction with our wonderful videos.
Give us a DM on Discord or comment on the latest video and we'll sort it out.
Yeah, we'll get the details sent over and we'll get that card straight to your door. Thank you so much. Right, well, now what? We've done it.
Now?
Do we give up?
Oh,
Now-
do we do more? Well, I mean,
do we do more?
Do you know what? I think let's just tease a bit and say we've got some things on the horizon that you may want to stay tuned for, and maybe we'll mention something in the coming weeks.
Simon, you're a patriot to this
well done,
podcast.
Simon. Well done, everyone. Well done to everyone that's subscribed. Thank you so much for subscribing. We're on the road to 200 now, so keep them coming in. And yeah, thanks to everyone that supported us.
200 subscribers, and we will tell you what we're doing.
See, Ken Hoskins must have known what he was doing. His comment on episode 10 was, "I need more of your content. I'm a filthy casual, and you guys have the best fab podcast around. Keep producing.
Oh my
and keep
God,
Why do
that
you
is
make
amazing.
You make it sound like you're reading a smut magazine.
That is the best
Yeah.
comment.
No, but it
Thank
sounds
you,
good.
Ken.
You guys are filthy. I'm a filthy casual. Oh, give me some more. Mm.
Poor Ken.
Well, Ken,
Well,
you
there's
knew
nothing wrong with being a
you knew what
filthy
you signed
casual.
up for. Well, welcome aboard to the
Everyone's a
pushing point.
filthy casual when they start, so don't worry about it. We're not. We're pretty filthy as well. So.
Right. I guess I'll see you boys in part 2.
Yeah.
See
See you
you
guys
part
in
two.
the next part.
Bye.
Later.